Hello, students. Hope you all are doing well and are taking care of yourselves. This is JC Benoy, your teacher, and I'm here yet again with another inspirational story. I hope you all have been enjoying the stories that I have been sharing with you all. If you want me to change something or you want me to share another story, please do share it in the comment box so that I can work on it and share the story with you. All right? And even your suggestions would be helpful in improving the way I share my stories. So please do I will welcome your suggestions. All right. Now today, as you can see, I'm sharing images of planes and the images of the people who are flying the planes in the plane cockpit. Correct? What are these people who they are called as pilots? Correct? What do they have in common? What do you think they have in common? Correct? They all look skilled, they are all very professional, they are all completely abled. Correct? That is what the pilots require. Correct? What about this pilot? What do you see missing in this pilot? She's obviously a pilot because she's sitting near the cockpit of a plane. All right? What do you see missing among those pilots that I showed you? Any idea? I hope you all have guessed it by now. This pilot misses her arms. Correct? She is missing her arms. So this is the story of today. My story of today is of Jessica Cox. All right, what's this lady's name? Her name is Jessica Cox, and she is inspiring because she was born without arms, and you can see that she is flying with her feet. Correct? She is actually flying in the plane and she's using her feet with absolutely no arms. How did she get there? Does she look sad and depressed to you? No, correct? Can you even imagine a pilot without arms? Would you feel safe to go into a plane without with a pilot who's flying without arms? No, correct? It's a scary thought. Then how did she get there? How did she start flying planes? Okay, and what does she look so happy about? So let me tell you about Jessica, because hers is an inspiring story which tells you that nothing is impossible. We always hear that phrase, nothing is impossible. Where there's a will, there's a way. Correct? But when it comes for us to do something, we find it difficult. We are not able to overcome our circumstances. Sometimes our mind ourselves stops us from doing things, or sometimes our family stops us. Then how did she overcome these situations? So Jessica Cox is a girl who was born without arms, and she was born in a place called Tucson, which is in Arizona, USA. All right, and she grew up as she had no arms, but that never stopped her from doing anything. All right, isn't she such a cute little girl? But she never stopped doing anything. She learned how to use her feet to do everything. So she learned how to use the computer, even her own makeup, swimming. She did all the activities that she could using only her feet. In fact, she grew up and has, even earned a black belt in Taekwondo without her arms. Can you imagine that? Isn't that so difficult? You know that getting earning a black belt in karate or any of those martial sports is difficult. It takes a lot of hard work and effort. And she, a girl without arms, was able to do that. So what is so special and how did she get over there? So Jessica herself says that she decided that she would not let anything stop her from doing and achieving things that she wanted to do. All right, she never let the fact that her arms are missing, because not because of an accident, not because of any health issues. It was by birth, a deformity, a handicap that happened by birth. But she never let that stop her from smiling. So you will always find her smiling. She worked learned to work with her feet, to do everything that a normal person does. All right, she went to school, she did everything in spite of the fact that she did not have arms. And then she never felt that she should stop learning. She wanted to still continue learning. All right. And she even learned to drive the car with her feet. Okay, so and she got a license for that. Okay, so that is how determined and strong this lady was from a very young age. Then one day she walked in, she decided that she wanted to fly the plane. But obviously, as usual, people told her that she wouldn't be able to fly because she had no hands, no arms. Some people suggested that she should try to have those prosthetic arms. Now, what are prosthetic arms? Prosthetic arms are those artificial limbs that we can attach to our bodies, but she found that very uncomfortable, and she thought she could do better without the arms, so she chose not to have those prosthetic arms. And she drove one day into this airspace, into this airspace training institute, and she drove in her own car by herself and went and met the trainer there. Now, her trainer says that with one foot managing the controls and the other delicately doing the steering column, guiding the steering column, that is how she managed to learn and earn her sport pilot certificate. That is how she flies the plane. One feet managing the steering column, the wheel, and the other is guiding the controls. So that is how she manages with 2 feet. The work that 2 hands are supposed to do, she manages with 2 feet. Okay, and she is able to fly the planes at an altitude of 10,000 feet. Now, when she walked into the airspace, the flying instructor saw her, and this was at San Manuel's Ray Blair Airport. And he first looked at her and he saw her coming out of the car, and he thought that a person who is able to drive a car using just 2 feet and no arms will be able to manage to fly the airplane too. So he never discouraged her, he never stopped her, he took her to training, and she finally was able to achieve her certificate. And she is now a certified pilot who can fly a plane at the altitude of 10,000 feet. All right. And her trainer is so impressed by her that he says that he has trained many pilots in his airbase, but Jessica Cox, is just beyond capable. Like, she is very good at her flying. All right, she's better than many of the pilots that he has trained. So he says when she came up here driving a car, Travik, that is her air pilot, says, her instructor says, I knew she'd had no problem flying a plane. Now, the doctors never learnt why she has no arms, all right, but she never let that disappoint her, did not let it discourage her. And her family also supported her. So they stood by her with all her decisions, whether it was learning to swim, whether it was learning to paint, whether it was learning to play the piano, whether it was learning to drive the car, and whether it was finally learning to fly the plane. So she never stopped, and now she's a motivational speaker. And what does a motivational speaker do? She goes, visits places, and she shares her story. She shares her inspiring and powerful story of how difficult it was for her to learn all these things, all these activities and sports that she had done, and how she is able to live a life which is so successful and full of inspiration, all right, without being stopped by the fact that she has no arms. She never let people treat her badly. All right, so all these are things which are inspiring about Jessica Cox, and that is what she does now. She's a motivational speaker. She goes to places to meet people and gives her speeches, shares her story so that she can inspire and motivate other people. That is what we need sometimes. Sometimes we're so disappointed by life that we forget to see our blessings, and we forget to know what, we forget to do the correct thing, or we forget to see the larger picture, like the story I shared yesterday. Instead of focusing on the rocks that we have in our life, the rocks represented the important aspects of our life, we think of all the other filler things that are there in our life, and we focus our energies on those little issues and those unimportant issues, instead of focusing on what we are blessed with and how we can do the best of using all those resources that we have. And Jessica Cox is one such person who tells us, who reminds us to do things without focusing on the deficit or the drawbacks, but instead of that, to focus on what we have, on the resources that we have, our brain, our family, our health. These are the things that we can focus on, and learn to be grateful for the things that we have, and make use of all the abilities that we have to the best. So I'm leaving you with a quote of hers, where she says that success is not something to wait for, it is something to work for. So whether you are capable, or according to other people not capable, that does not matter. You have to believe that you are capable. You cannot let anybody stop you, you cannot let other people's words stop you. If you know deep down in your heart what you're doing is right, and you have put all your maximum efforts to do what you know is right, I'm sure you're going to be able to succeed in whatever you put your mind to. Yes, it is difficult to put our mind to, to on our work every time. Yes, it is difficult because we get distracted, but that is also in our hands, because this distraction comes from our mind. So why not do all the positive things that we have in our life, focus on the positive aspects of our life, and learn to live a bright and cheerful life like Jessica Cox. So, next time when you are disappointed, not so happy, not so thrilled about the things, or you feel that people are holding you back, even your family is not supporting you, just remember this smiling face of Jessica Cox with her feet on the steering wheel of the car, of the airplane, and remember that you are blessed. You have more abilities. You have more capabilities to use. Okay? And focus on that, and I'm sure that you'll be able to spread your wings and fly and achieve all that you want in your life. So do that, okay? Don't let the darkness stop you. Spread your wings, fly into the bright, successful future that waits for you. This is my story for today. Thank you.